Anybody? Somebody give us no.
We're not talking though, so.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Billy. You're awesome.
Okay. So there's groups of people that have no clue that trafficking is happening in the United States and how horrible it is. There's people that have a head knowledge of it, but they haven't connected the dots and you can tell those people because there's an awareness.
Yeah, there's a different response.
But when you connected the dots, it's like it's like a gut punch to the stomach when you realize everything that's actually happening and going on. And like a couple days ago, they came out with the Wayfair thing, the kids being trafficked online, and the pictures embedded. So we were going to talk about some of those things and things to look out for. If you guys have any questions ever, ask me.
I don't care how crazy they sound. Honestly, we were just talking about like last year, everybody was like, your seatbelt. And I'm like, guys, we go through so much crazy stuff that honestly our seatbelt is not our worries. We have it on, not saying we don't. But but like if you feel like the question may be too crazy, maybe too blunt, maybe too wild, maybe too sound psycho, that's the best question you can ask. And honestly, the truth of everything that is going on is not sugar-coated, as you can see. And that's what makes things so hard. I've been asked, am I from a different country? I'm so pretty because I was trafficked. Or, like really weird, crazy things that some people just think that this is like a sugar daddy type of basis. And that you're going to get something fun out of it. And, I mean, if you come up missing, it's because you're with your sugar daddy. And that's literally not what it is. So the videos that I have made before, I've really wanted to try to like put it out there, but it's just like I said, it's just really hard. So, it helps. Questions help, and people that want to listen really, really help. So,
all right, start with when I first met you, before you lived with me, when you came to the house, and the things that were in the car. These are things that it's hard to, like, I try to tell you guys as much. When something happens, I'm like, oh, I need to let people know about that. But unless you specifically ask me, it's kind of hard for me to like think to put it all out there. But with the Wayfair thing, and with Ghislaine Maxwell getting arrested, they're looking for things for her. They're looking for traffickers keep files and folders and DNA samples of every single kid. They have documented hard copies of these things. And with Ghislaine, they're still looking for those things. So those are things you guys need to be paying attention for in the news when it comes up. Go ahead and explain a little bit more about that.
Another thing is on here, if somebody feels like, can I come on here and talk to you? We can bring you guys on camera, just let you know. But yeah, well, when I had, I was with a guy named Keith, when I was about 15. I kind of went into high escort services around then, and there was this one time where I was in charge of driving cars. I've been driving since I was about 9-10 years old. So yeah, I'm short, but I can drive. So when I say that things are not what they seem, trust and believe they're not what they seem. When I was with this guy, at one point,
he was a handler.
Yes, handler. Yeah. When I was with the handler, he had a truck that he wanted me to drive from one place to another, and I took it to my mom's house because I was at a point where I was kind of scared. I just did a drop to New Juarez, Mexico. When I say kennels all the time, now you guys understand what I say by kennels. If you're watching closely about everything that's going on, when I say kennels, I mean those shipping containers. Those are what they call kennels, or your room, or your lockdown. I was supposed to take this car to one place to another, and it was full of ledgers, DNA samples,
Tell me what
syringes.
you mean by ledgers.
Ledgers. These ledgers, so like this book that I have right here has every dance and all kind of things that I've ever done in it. Imagine if I'm just going to use my dance as an example. If I had dancers and I kept a note of every single dancer that I've ever been in contact with, what dance we did, where we did it, who's their parent, what's their name, and what's their real name. A lot of victims, you end up with about 1,000 names. And the reason why they tell you to answer by those different names is because they need you to move things from one place to another, and they need to make sure that you're following, that you're not the person that you are anymore. You're somebody else that you're working for. So, like I said, the ledgers have everything in them. So hard copies, and I mean, there's books. So there's books that you see, and there's books that you don't see. Those books that you don't see are usually kept on the handlers. They're kept in files. They're kept in USB drives, and they're kept in secret places. Now, what I did was became very smart when I went into New Mexico Juarez. I was put into a shipping container. I was chained to some of my friends. I was around girls who were dying, sick, didn't speak any English, wouldn't stop crying, and we were shipped. We got to New Mexico Juarez in the middle of the night, and there was nothing but holes in the ground. Okay, from those holes, there's other trucks that pull up, and those trucks will say, you know what, and they talk about you like your packages. And I told you guys this before. You're either black girls, black kids are usually referred to as food of some kind. Usually white kids are referred to as some type of furniture. Mexican kids are usually referred to as some type of product like retail. So when they get there, they usually say like, who's crying, who's sick, who's this, who's that, and that's which way you're going to end up going. If you're sick, you're more than likely going into the ground that you pulled up on. If you won't stop crying, you're more than likely probably going to head underground because you're never going to stop crying. If you have an attitude, they might put you with an escort because that means that they can train you. If you're quiet, you're cooperating, then they might sell you just for the night or for the weekend or for the week. They might return you, or they might send you to Russia or Dubai. When I figured all that stuff out and I figured what I was truly in, I started being nicer to my pimp because at this point I wanted to become his wife. When you become a wife of that person, probably what is similar to what Ghislaine is, if you guys can stay with me on this, when you become a wife to your handler, that's out of all the girls that they have, out of basically the product of what they call you, out of what they have. So say for it, my pimp had about 36, give or take 46 girls all the time. And that's at minimum that I seen or that I would meet or that we would go to parties with. And when you have that many, one of them is your wife. When I say wife, this is when recruitness comes
Supervisor.
in. This is like the supervisor. Yeah. You are telling on everybody. If somebody is trying to escape, you need to let them know. If whatever you have to do basically to stay on top, so you're not the one that's getting put in the next shipping container, then that's what you have to do. So what I did is I was a little bit nicer, and after I was nicer, I was able to drive the car. I was able to go out into public. I didn't have to take my drugs as bad. I was able to walk into places. There's a lot of times where they drug you so bad that they will carry you into those places, get you dressed after they get you inside, and then leave you in the middle, so you have to deal with it. But if you're cooperating, then you're able to walk in yourself. If you don't have an attitude, if you're not fighting, if you're not crying, then you can basically kind of skip the process of being blindfolded and knocked out. So that's what I did. I was smarter about things, which meant I had to sneak out more. I was gone from 6 o'clock in the morning when I was supposed to be checking into school. I would get to school, people would check me out, and I would go with him. I would come back right before my bus gets there for school. I would get back to my foster home, and then I would leave right after dinner time, maybe 6 o'clock at night, and then return and do the same thing all over again. So like I said, I became a wife, and from there you basically do higher jobs. You get your pick of your jobs. So when I say your pick, these are not little jobs. These are,
it's a backhanded,
it's a whole thing. And you know, and I'm okay. Can I get comfortable? Because I'm about to be real with you. The thing is, I used to hate myself. I still do. That's the problem. Okay? Because I used to be like, how could anybody love me? How could anybody want me around their kids? How could anybody want me around them? Like, I used to be a hoe. When I joke about that sometimes, you know, a lot of people, I'm smiling, but I'm serious. It keeps me from crying. Y'all know that. When I joke about those things, I'm being serious, because it's like, you can't really live with yourself after those type of situations. And when you have to deal with somebody from Dubai, you get treated like you're a goat, literally. You get treated worse than an animal. That is like the biggest threat. If you are getting on your pimp's last nerves, they will say, I will slap you into Dubai, or I'll trade you, and say one more word, you're going to Dubai. That's like the biggest threat to a trafficker. I know you guys have heard the jokes like, oh, hoes can run fast in heels. Like, that's a huge thing. So when I say jobs, I mean, like, I hope you guys don't have anybody watching on this live with a faint stomach, because I'm just gonna be real, okay? When I say jobs, I mean, there's a difference of going to a house and taking a photo shoot naked. And I don't just mean like cheese naked. There's a difference of, it's called a cuckold. There is a difference of going with the couple and having to do something with the couple while the other, like the husband, sits back and watches and masturbates. There is, see me? See? This is why I don't like to talk about this. There is, there's water jobs where someone is hurting you and they're drowning you at the same time. There are humiliation jobs where they'll take you in front of public, or they will put you in a warehouse and make everybody watch, or they will put chains around you and walk you around like a dog and make you stuff your face in the toilet or lick their shoes. There are jobs that are bondage jobs where you have to be tied up and you have to deal with getting hit or whipped or cut or waxed. And when I say waxed, I mean people dripping wax on you slowly and torturing you. So when I say jobs, I mean there's a lot of different jobs. I'm shaking, so I'm just gonna
when a lot of times when I post stuff and I'll say trafficking and worse, these are the worst that I mean. I think a lot of us, like, if you would have asked me 20 years ago what trafficking is, oh, somebody just bought somebody for a sexual encounter, basic missionary sexual encounter, and trafficking is not that at all. It's like,
no.
And I think that's a lot of reasons why we're not so enraged with these children being trafficked, is because we're not understanding.
Another job is punishments. And that's when you get to pick your job. Either you get punished or you have to punish someone. And I mean beating the hell out of somebody. It's not just like, you know, this whole sexual, I'm gonna spank you type of thing with the paddle. It's literally taking a whip and making sure that you catch blood from somebody. It's beating the hell out of them. Like, I can't explain that to you, and trying to make them stay awake. And then the second that they're this close to passing out, they cover your body in ice and they wake you back up. So when I say jobs, you guys have no idea what people are actually going through and what people have actually seen, there's also blood jobs. Those jobs, bloodletting. You go into a church, you dress up like a pastor.
Tell me about the churches.
Dress up like
what
a
kind
choir.
of churches do they go to?
Christian, Baptist, Catholic, anything.
After hours?
After hours. And you go to a church, you dress up, and you are whooped, you're beat, wax is thrown on you, there's hot water thrown on you, or there's blood drawn, there's blood baths. And if you don't participate in that, y'all fell. They will draw the blood from you, basically. So they're just jobs. So after I broke those down, now you get me. There's just jobs. Hold on one second.
And they keep track of all that.
And they keep track of all that.
In hard copies.
In hard copies. Exactly what they did to you. And that's the thing. How many people, if they run a train on you, if there's over 20, 30 people.
What's a train?
A train is another word, gangbang. Another word. The biggest thing is running a train. And that is about 20 to 30. Y'all need to stop falling. Yeah, there's I can't hold that. When they say train, there's like 20 or 30 dudes on you at once. And not just dudes, there's females.
So for Ghislaine, they have a lot of information. They've gathered a lot of information. A lot of things have been outed about her, but they're still looking for some of these hard drives and some of this DNA. I suspect some of this DNA and the stuff on this hard drive is going to lead you to a lot of the big name kids that have gone missing.
Your blood is taken every day when you wake up. If you live in a kennel, if you live in a storage center, so your basic, I'm trying to look around right now because we're in warehouse buildings to see if I find one. Your basic warehouse buildings right next to you are more than likely a trafficking spot. Your basic storage places, that's it. Your basic storage places, like, you know, store your furniture for a few months because you can't do it in your house, are usually trafficking hubs, and they buy those places a lot to hold their kids in. If you, I'm trying to find, I'm in industrial. If you find, if you look down into your neighborhood and you see kennels like this right here, or kennels, shipping containers, warehouses, junkyards, those are the places that majority kids are held and people are held. And they rent those out, they keep them in there, they lock you in, and you're usually stripped down. You can't be in real clothes. You're not allowed to hold your hands in front of you. If anybody notices, I hold my hands or do certain things a certain way because I've just been trained not to do them that way. You are not allowed to hold your hands in front of you. You're not allowed to hold your hands behind you. They have to be at your sides. You're usually stripped down in a tank top or chonies. And your blood is taken every day. They check on your blood as well. They check on STDs. They check on AIDS. The reason why they do this is because when they're selling you to high escorts, or when they're selling you to someone who they don't want to make sick, they know they're people who are sick. They know they're people, their kids, or their product, what they call you. They know who's not doing well, who doesn't have that long left. And they will sell those to people who are selling for what? $300 an hour, $600 an hour. Then they sell those people to those kids. They sell those victims to those people. If your blood is fine, then they try to sell you to a high escort service. If they mix up and sell somebody that has AIDS to a high escort, then it's called like bad product, or spoiled milk is what they call it. And that's when they have to snuff you, which means take you into
behind the red door. And they'll videotape.
And they'll videotape. They turn
rape you to death, basically.
Sex machines on. There's sex machines. And that's another thing. There are sex machines. There are full-blown, look like construction equipment, sex machines. There are drills that have dildos attached to them, and they rape you with those until you stop breathing. And that's what snuffing is. So everybody used to, the big thing is everybody used to tell you don't go behind the red door. And if you were in trouble, like for girls that I was around and where I was, it was don't end up in the wheelbarrow. Which means that after they snuff you, they put your body in a wheelbarrow and they save those bodies somewhere first until the wheelbarrow fills up completely. They don't dump all of them at once, because every single day someone doesn't actually, what's the word I'm looking for, survive. If somebody snatches a little kid right now and takes them to where they are, and this little kid does not cooperate for the next 3-4 hours, no matter how you drug them, they have to kill them. There is no other way. You know what I'm saying? They can't move them because they won't stay quiet. So there's at least like 20 or 30 people when I was there that ended up in the wheelbarrow a day. I'm saying that again, a day.
How do they hide the bodies?
They don't.
What do they do with these dead bodies? Because why aren't people finding so many bodies?
Because, okay, so I am not a big fan of Halloween, and I'm not a big fan of those things like that hang at what is it? You know, when they tie a grocery bag and they tie the thing around the neck and they make it look like a ghost. You know what I'm talking about? When you do Halloween decorations and you tie the body up and it's like you put 3 rubber bands on the bag so it looks like a dead body. Yeah. That's not a joke. That's why I don't like Halloween. They will hang you in a room from the ceiling in those bags, and they will walk girls through there to make an example out of you. So you can understand that if you don't do what they say, if something happens or something goes wrong, then that's going to be you hanging from the ceiling. There was a lot of times that with Keith it was different, with Aaliyah it was different, with certain pimps it was just did things a little bit different, but pretty much everybody does things the same. With Keith, there was a storage container that he had at a fast food restaurant. And I don't think I've ever really broke this one down for you. Yeah. Casey and a few of his friends, if somebody died or if something went wrong, they would stuff the bodies in that walk-in freezer until the freezer was full. There's a lot of there's a lot of places like McDonald's, Burger King, you would be surprised where you'd find bodies, a beach, a park where people will stuff bodies and keep them and stack them up until they have to do something with them. Pimps don't usually think like, oh, I'm going to dump this body today and I'm going to put it somewhere. No, they will go back. They will make sure that they either cut it up, they will send it off. They have to go through your organs for sure, because the second that you die, they put you on your body on ice. And this was the horrible thing that I went through with a bunch of my friends. When I say I've seen a lot of babies die, when I say I have a lot of friends that I have watched die, and here goes the tears. I didn't want them. A lot of people don't understand that when they sell you, you're usually in a team. You're in a duo, and okay, say for it's this is hard to explain, I'm sorry, 1 second. Say for it's I'm just gonna use an example of me. I had a friend named Sapphire. We stayed together for the majority of our jobs. Because we played off of each other. We were always laughing. We were the only people that laughed together. So they'll stick you on jobs together for twosomes, threesomes, foursomes, group parties, orgies. They'll stick you with the same people, basically, because they know that you two are going to work together to get the money that needs to be taken. You know what I'm saying? If something happens, say for it's my friend, I had a friend, something happens and I don't agree with it. I do what I'm supposed to do, but they don't do what they're supposed to do. I'm in trouble too. Does that make sense? So what would happen is if something happened to them, I had to witness it because this was they were my responsibility. Does that make sense? There have been times where I didn't know that somebody was trying to escape. I didn't know that they were talking to somebody on the phone. I didn't know that they gave a note or passed a note to a clerk at a gas station. I didn't know these things, and I got in trouble. You get what I'm saying? So if their body gets cut up, if they get beat, if you're in trouble so much that they need to make an example and punish you with a stick or a staircase banister or a yardstick of some kind that you know you're going to bleed from, they will make sure that this person watches, the person that you're supposed to be with. So when I say that I've seen a lot of things and I've seen my friends die and I have friends that I represent, that's why my brand and the things that I do is called Worth More Than Diamonds. They give you each a name. I was called a diamond. And so majority of my job names, I was not my real name Tori. I was Ruby. And if I didn't answer to those names, if I didn't turn around to those names, if I don't answer whoever has me to those names, they will beat the hell out of you, basically. There is no, I am this person, I'm going to stay this person. They want to make sure that you will never be this person again for that moment. You can go back to whoever you decide to be when you leave that job. But as far as that job, at that moment, you are the person and the name that they give you. And if you don't do that, then it's your life and the person that you're always with, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now with that. Okay. We have comments, so I'm gonna hold on. Did you ever think you would escape to safety? I think you're doing a great job. Information is so important at this time. You make it become a reality. Love you both. God bless you. Thank you. Hey, Candace, it's Candace. Okay. Did you ever... No. I used to tell my mom all the time I won't make it to 16. I won't make it to 17. I won't make it to 15. The biggest age I never thought I would make it to 16. It was 16 and I'm 26 now. So I didn't think I would live to see a birthday. I never believed. I would tell my mom that all the time. Like, if I don't see you tomorrow, I just want to tell you this. And she'd be like, don't say that. And I'm like, I'm being dead serious. It's just, it is what it is. There were jobs. I've been put on planes. I've been shipped over country for the night. I've been put in containers. I've been put in cabinets. So, no, I never thought I would begin to get to safety. No. So now y'all see why I'm always like so having unlucky to live now. So yeah. Can I share this video? Yes. Yes. I just shared this and it is being removed. Oh. Okay. Perfect sense.
Blood. What else did they do with the blood? You said they take blood every day.
They take blood every day. They store it. They also test it. If your blood tastes good is another weird thing. People are psycho. You'd be surprised what is a fetish. Okay? You'd be surprised people's sickest, craziest fantasies that they want to have with children, with certain objects and people. So sometimes they take your blood and that goes as like a profile. Does that make sense? Like a resume to the buyer. You get me? So there are people who are into blood. The way it smells, the way it feels, the way it tastes. It's very creepy. But sometimes they'll send that blood to whoever they're trying to sell you to. And for that, you'll get your answer back. That's when your bids come into place. See, you don't have a price. As a hoe, you name your price. Okay? As a victim, you name your price. What you work for, you name your price. So, walking down the street and trying to jump into somebody's car, sometimes just $20, depending on what you're doing. A blowjob, a hand job, you know what I'm saying? Let's be real here. $20, $30, $40. Give or take 60. So the hose that's walking street at night is not making that much money. Does that make sense? When you get a little bit higher than that, you go into photo shoots. You get a little bit higher than that, and you go into little videos that just go here and there. You get a little bit higher than that until you go into porn videos. You go into higher than that, and you go into escort services where you're in casinos. You get a dress. You get a beautiful dress. You look elegant. You look like a movie star. And the only thing that you need to do is move a suitcase.
Talk about that.
Boy. Suitcases. Becoming a wife is a little bit easier, like I said, with the jobs. Let's take Ghislaine Maxwell as an example. Okay? If someone found those ledgers that they're looking for, that means that all the underwater graves, all the graves, where they've been buried, what city, what state they've been flown to, this, that, or the other thing. If they found those ledgers, what's in... I had a whole car full, guys. I tried to bring to my mom.
This was... Yeah, I wasn't your mom then. I was your social worker, I think. And I had no understanding of this at all. So go ahead.
Yeah. I
Thankfully,
randomly one day called her and was like, Mom, I have everything in this car. Okay, I have my pimp's car. I'm only supposed to be gone for a few hours. I want to bring this to you. I had every folder, every fake passport, every fake ID that they had ever existed. Every syringe, every drug that they used. They used tranquilizers. They used spider venom. They used so much things. And I had everything in this truck. And I tried to bring it to my mom. My mom was like, nope. And she left. And thank God she did, because we would have been dead. There is no way possible that I would have got away with dropping that car off. We would have been dead. There is no police officer we could have talked to. There's no detective we could have talked to. I had everything in that car. And honest to God, if I would have probably turned it in, it would have probably looked like me. You know what I mean? So...
I didn't have enough understanding to keep her safe and to keep us safe. If I had that information now, I would do some damage with that. But at the time, my learning curve was way behind what it is now, and thankfully I know both of us would have been dead right then, because I didn't know that we couldn't trust certain people. I didn't know I couldn't just take it to the police station at that point. I didn't know I couldn't just call the social worker and say, hey, we got a problem. So there was a big learning curve for me, but boy, I'd love to have that stuff now.
Yeah, so in this car I had all this stuff, and I think it was that night that I traveled, I want to say traveled, left for a few hours, got on a plane and left. I was dressed in this beautiful, luxurious dress, probably the most expensive dress I'd ever been in my life. My name was changed to Jessica, and I'll never forget that night, because I was going off on my handler like, dude, I'm black. Like, come on now, you're really gonna name me Jessica? Like, come on, is anybody gonna believe my name is Jessica? you know what I'm saying? Do I look like a Jessica? So I was really upset, and he was laughing at the time, so I thought he was kidding. And I remember that night he beat me up so bad because I didn't answer to Jessica when they called my name, and I had that suitcase in my hand. So he took me out there. I got to sit at a bar. And another thing is, I was a hustler. I'm just gonna say it now. Took some credit cards, some PIN numbers. It's very easy to get it off of Rich Juice when they're drunk. So you get their bank account, you get their credit card numbers, you take a few credit cards, and there's a little bit of an extra feedback and kickback for you. You get 10%. Bullshit. Sorry, I'm just gonna say it. You don't get shit. but you're told you get 10% of whatever you find on the credit cards or whatever you make at that night. At the end of the quota, you get 10% of your quota. So if my quota was 30,000 for the night, then I got 10% of that BS. I would get taken to the store. I'd get all these diamonds and stuff. Some that my mom smashed, and and you know, they would put me in all this stuff. But anyways, he took me out to a casino. I remember first we stopped at the house. The house had a pool in it. And I remember he got stripped down. They took all of his guns, his knives, and everything off of him. They literally told me to take all of my clothes off and jump into the water. Craziest crap I've ever been in my life. Okay, at this time, I couldn't swim. All right? I was a fish that drowned. So I jumped into this water. The water was green. There was cameras at the bottom that x-ray you to make sure that you don't have anything on you. You swim under the bar and you get to your hookup. Okay? From there, I was dressed. I was taken to the casino. There were dudes playing poker games. Very high-end people. Very rich people playing games. My pimp told me that we have a very important suitcase. If you're a wife, you'll sometimes get told what's in that suitcase. If it's seriously something that you can't know, they won't tell you. So I was told to take this suitcase and walk it from one side of the casino to the other table, and then from the table to the car. The reason for that is because if there's a rich person and they have a huge suitcase, you know what I'm saying, and somebody's constantly taking pictures of them, then people are going to eventually wonder what's in that suitcase. If anything, somebody might stop them and check the suitcase. So if you put it on a child, or if you put it on a pretty girl, nobody's going to ask you any questions. Do you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to high escorts, all you have to do is carry it. But I'm telling you right now, what you're carrying is just lives. It's lives. It's souls that you have no idea about. And when I found out, and I was not allowed to throw up in front of my pimps, it was just a thing, it would make me sick. There are times that I wouldn't be able to stomach what I found out. But you can't show that. Because if you show that you're upset, if you show that you feel bad, if you show that you're scared, it's a sign of weakness, and you'll be bumped back down. And they will take that ring from you, and they will take that title from you as wife, and you will go back into the kennels, and you will go back into the really, really gritty, dirty jobs that you don't want to be in. So this is why recruits, this is why there are going to be 20-year-old adults found. There are going to be people that you thought were dead. They are usually put underground. They are usually put in a home. They are usually married to somebody that you'll never see their face again, but you think they're dead. So there's a lot. But usually escort services are a little bit more riskier than what they seem. McDonald's, Burger King, that's a hot spot. You think if you're sitting at McDonald's and Burger King and you see an awkward situation going on, first thing sometimes people think about is foster care. First thing sometimes people think about is this is a visitation, you know, the dad had an issue and they didn't get them back. No, that is a switch. That is a trade-off. That is someone being exchanged. And the thing is when you walk into the place, they will get you a Happy Meal. They'll talk to you. They'll introduce themselves to you. And then your handler will tell you go over there and hug them or touch them. They want to feel your body against theirs. They want to check your hands. They want to look into your teeth.
Explain
they want to...
Yesterday I had posted the video of the little girl that they were filming, and the lady that was filming the video focused on her hands and made her turn her hands over and stuff. There's reasons for that. I'm gonna go ahead and tell them.
Yeah. We're sharing this video, so I guess we just get it off there, aren't we? Come back and try to take her phone and delete it. You don't know why, because you know I'm gonna get backlash for this. I'm just saying. I know I am. Your teeth are a big thing. Sometimes they protract